good. How you doing?
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
I hope you have a good day.
Hope you have a better week.
I hope your month is full of successful days and a lot of great ventures. I hope you just come up, brother.
I hope your whole fucking year is spectacular.
Oh, you hope my year is spectacular?
Yeah.
You got something you want to say to me?
You got something you want to say?
But
well, this Sunday you can see us on. Oh no, I don't know if the Amaru
is that this weekend? Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's this Sunday.
What's Sunday?
The three of us will be with Amaru and JTE on their show,
and Kaiser as well.
Oh
right! Don't forget about that. I put that on my calendar.
I forgot about it until I scheduled D&D for Sunday, and I went, yeah, I got nothing else going on.
Whoops. Say, Amaru, if you're listening, we are gonna try to make it.
What up, family? It's your boy Amaru, and we are back with another episode of One Gotta Stay. And they made it. They did make it.
Made it.
Luckily, glad they did. Sully, thank you for bringing it up as much as you forgot. But you're here now. We are here for our semifinals of One Gotta Stay here on Bitesize Breakdown. All year, we have been going through round after round after round, trying to figure out the best geek character. And we are down to our Elite Eight. And we're going to go to the right side of the bracket today. We have 4 top-tier characters: Obi-Wan Kenobi, Spock, Indiana Jones, and James Bond. And only 2 of them can move on to the finals. But our panel today has an even more difficult task because they can only save one. Because that's why it's called One Gotta Stay. And speaking of that panel, who I have today here with me, first and foremost, the newest member of the Bitesize crew. Very happy that he has joined us on Bitesize Breakdown. Josh the engineer, Josh the intern, whatever you want to call him. Everybody knows him, Mr. JTE. How are you doing, sir? Great to have you on.
Good, man. I don't see Rocky or Rambo in these finals here, and I gotta say I'm a little disappointed. But I get it. They're maybe not the geekiest. They're a little more manly, a little more hard edged, a little more R-rated. None of these characters are in any R-rated movies, so it's all good though. I like some of these characters.
Some of them. Hey, wait until we do the action bracket. Then you might see a little bit of who you like. Before we get to those scoundrels who forgot about what we were doing tonight, a scoundrel all his own. One Mr. John Kaiser. Sorry I gave you your full government name, but Kaiser. How many curse words are gonna happen before the end of the night?
You can call me the artist. You can call me the trash man. It's up to you. But
artist, trash man, Kaiser.
Trash man, whatever you want to say. But look, you had that little bracket up. I had a question because I didn't recognize 2 people. Who was the hobo and the girl with the skin condition in the top left?
That would be for another episode, but
yeah, who's the old hobo and the girl with the skin condition who listens to the Cure a lot?
We're just gonna leave that one alone.
I don't know who those people are. I really don't know who. You said in the finals. I have no idea who those people are.
That's Hermione from the Wizarding World and Gandalf from Middle Earth.
How did you manage 2 different people to enter the Geekdom titles without knowing who those people are?
I have no idea.
I don't watch those movies.
Apparently not, but you got one of these people on here to an Inner Geekdom title, the last final Inner Geekdom title. So I love that segue. The first member of Scoundrels Incorporated. Y'all are keeping that name, right? Because I know y'all were going back and forth. Whatever it is, one of the first members of Scoundrels Incorporated, your Inner Geekdom title holder from the Schmodown, one Mr. Kevin, the Smasher Smets. Kevin, how you doing? You're back on for your second round.
I am.
How you feeling?
It's a little bit of deja vu because I was on wild cards, and 2 of those guys made it to this round. So I already have debated about Indiana Jones with the top Indiana Jones guy ever in Paul Preston, the biggest fan anyway, and then James Bond. So it's a little bit of deja vu, but I'm looking forward to it.
All right. And then under you, first time on the show. Again, thank you for bringing it up so I can make sure the 3 of them are on here. You could also just let Brandon Hanna know that we still love him even though he never is available ever. One Mr. Sean Sullivan. But first and foremost, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I thought I also won an Inner Geekdom title.
You want a cool
no?
wife. That's better than some.
Oh,
bullshit.
okay, cool. Yeah,
much better.
Yeah.
Better than
I'm
a
thinking
title.
about hanging on to that one.
Yeah, I agree with that. But how you feeling about what we got in front of us tonight?
I made some interesting choices, and I'm ready for that.
You did, and I'd love to see how that works out. Last but not least, the man with the numbers. You're gonna hear about 50 million names from him today. But Frank Janis, Frankie Numbers. How you feeling, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. When I was looking at this list of characters, it's a pretty tough list, to only pick one. So I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody did with their lists. And I think last time I was on here, what was it, like Ripley, and was it Sarah
Did she
Connor?
win? Did she win, Ripley?
I think she did, yeah.
Because
she won that
spoiler alert,
round.
She should win this whole goddamn tournament, Rue.
I agreed, but I believe Indy and Bond beat her out. I don't agree with that, but I had Ripley winning the
Who
whole
beat
thing.
Ripley?
But hey, the two of the guys you're arguing about tonight.
Oh, that's horse shit. She should have won the whole thing.
But Frankie, nice to have you on. As we said, it is the semifinals. So one more time, we have 4 great characters: Obi-Wan Kenobi, Indiana Jones, James Bond, and Spock. And each of our panelists can only save one. But before we do that, we got to see what order they.
Spreadsheet work. Pretty.
It does. It does. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But we're gonna go, Frankie. Start us off. Who is your number 4? Who is the first one to go? Who needs to get out of here?
My number 4, and it's really because I'm a fan of all of these characters, but this was probably the least I was the fan of, and that would be James Bond. So I was like, yeah, he can go. I like the movies.
You would get fucked up in Chicago for real, Frank.
Hey, look, I'm looking forward to what's your number 4, dude. So, like I said, this is a tough list. So James Bond, I was like, he can go. And plus, it's like, how many different actors have there been? So it's not, you could be attached to a certain actor in their movies, and So I think that was probably, in terms of, if I could claim it as a weakness, if that's even a proper term here, and why they were my 4th. So off you go.
Does anybody else have Bond at number 4 besides me?
My fellow scoundrel.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Frank. For me, James Bond in my last list, when I faced him, Indiana Jones was my number 1. James Bond was my number 2. So he was up there against like 5 other people. But when compared to now the 2 newcomers with Obi-Wan and with Spock, for me, I just have closer ties to those 2 characters. Plus, like Frank said, so many actors have played James Bond. And also, there's been a pantheon of great movies of James Bond. And I finally got into him, actually, during my year away from the Schmodown. I watched all of them. So he's a lot higher than he would have been prior to that. But there are some bad ones in the lot. So, some of these other characters obviously have bad ones of their lot too. But for me, it was just less connecting because there's just so many James Bonds. And you can pick your poison. There's so many different ones. There's Space James Bond. There's, gritty Bourne Identity style James Bond. So, but for me, out of the 4, he's just got to go. It's no hate for the character. He was, again, my number 2 out of 5 for the wild cards section that I did. But
stop qualifying. Just say he's your number 4.
Shut up, Frank.
I
only have to deal with you once a week. I can't believe I have to deal with you twice a week now.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, but what? You know what? So that means you got Obi-Wan and Spock ahead of this man.
Yes, sir.
That's fucking stupid. Because Bond goes to all the cool places, France, the Riviera.
Oh, Earth, yeah.
Yo, dude, yeah. Obi-Wan goes to what? Fucking Fire Island or wherever he fights Darth Vader. I don't know the name of that place, but like, dude, Bond goes to all the cool places, hangs out with all the cool chicks. You nerds just showed your true colors.
Have you seen?
You'd rather hang out.
Hold on.
Have
you seen the Fire Island documentary? I mean, the way they got those cheese sandwiches and the crappy
Firefest. I think that's Fire.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
What is the name of the place, Sean? What is Fire Island really called in the Star Wars lore?
Firefest. Kevin.
Mustafar.
I'm talking about where
Firefest.
Darth Vader lives. Where he
Oh.
loves to fight.
Mustafar.
Mustafar.
Mordor. I think it's
So
Mordor.
Obi-Wan
Yeah,
hangs
Mordor,
out
yeah.
in Mustafar, and James Bond hangs out in all the hot nightclubs in Europe.
I'm not a nightclub guy, so that's why I also have Bond at number 4. I've had to talk about this man 3 different times, and every single time, no matter the variation, he has been number 4.
There we go.
You realize he dated Grace Jones. You don't give him no points for that?
I would put Grace Jones above James Bond. That's what would happen.
That's fair,
Like-
though. That's a good point.
Drink your
I would never argue that.
I've been trying to get rid of this person for forever. I don't care about him at all.
I think he's a slick son of a bitch, man.
Any variation.
Go ahead.
In any variation, he is not a character I love more than any of the other ones that have been put up. He's cool. Daniel Craig and Sean Connery in general are the epitome of cool. I like them. But the character.
Talk about Roger Moore.
Yeah, I
He's the one who dated Grace Jones.
Use the mute button, Amaro. You can do that.
I could, but I'll wait till later.
I'm just shocked.
I'll wait till later.
I'm just shocked you guys would put a character who is the lead of his own franchise with like over 20-something films over Spock, who's not even the lead of his own franchise. The guy is a side character who's basically a robot. He has to deal with emotions. He's nowhere near as interesting as Daniel Craig's James Bond for sure.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I think Spock to me is the most boring pick. He's my number 4 on this list.
Me too. He's my number 4.
And he's not even the lead. He's not even the lead of his own franchise. To me,
I got him at 4
it's
too.
like putting,
I concur.
It's like putting short
Since
run
we're
over
doing it, there we go. Number 4, continue on. But before, no, I will say that there's not a James Bond that is any better than any other James Bond. I really don't remember anything from any of their movies. I remember everything Spock does. I remember how he deals with his emotions. I don't remember what woman that Daniel Craig is crying over, what woman that Sean Connery is misogynizing. I don't care. I don't care.
Are we also weighing the movies? I'll take Casino Royale over any Star Trek movie you put in front of me as just a better made film, a better character study, better action sequences. To me, it's just a better franchise, a better made film, and it says more to me than any of the Star Trek films.
And that's
Star
why
Trek
he's the CEO of the Criterion Collection.
Hell yeah. Casino Royale should be on Criterion. I just think Spock, again, you're giving it to a side character? Really?
Over Bond?
Zachary Quinto?
For sure.
He's giving it Zachary Quinto over Sean Connery?
Remember, the
Spock
show's
has some
called
ass
One
when
Gotta Stay.
Zachary
The show's
Quinto
called
got the
One
role
Gotta
in front.
Stay. So it's not
Right.
like I'm putting these people. Oh, he's the winner in my bracket. This is just you got to kick these guys out.
I just think it's a shame to put him over James Bond. I think that's just
The character didn't get any
ridiculous.
ass until Zachary Quinto played the character. Take that to the bank.
I'll take that. Kaiser,
I don't
keep
think that's
going.
true, actually. Kevin?
What's that?
Is that true? I don't think that's true.
Spock never
What do
got
you
no ass until Zachary Quinto.
Oh no, didn't he?
Uhura.
I feel like
What's her
Nimoy
face?
fucked. I feel like Nimoy fucked somebody.
No, he did in the lore. I mean, I don't even watch the new shows on
I wanna
Discovery,
see, like,
but they talk about how he had like a wife and stuff.
I want to see the side story with Spock
Wait.
and Uhura. That'd be a cool film, bro. They're on
That
some
would.
creep ass island or a planet. No one knows what's going on.
I don't even
Some
want to
side
see
shit
that.
happening.
I don't even want to see that. That doesn't even interest me. If you told
I'm
me there's
taking
a,
Uhura
if they
Spock
announced
side
a,
project.
if they announced a Spock movie next year, I would literally care less.
Yo,
I'd
if she's
be
in
like,
it, I'm
really?
going. If she's in it, I'm there.
If
Why are
there's
you
a Star
against
Trek movie, I'll go see a Star Trek movie. I'm not going to go see a Spock.
Why
If
are you
she's
against
in it,
Vulcan
you
so
will.
bad? Are you why are you Vulcanist, dude? That's-
Well, no, they're against neurodivergent characters.
Basically.
I'm
kinda the
really
same
on his
thing.
girlfriend though. Spock's girlfriend is hot, dope. Love
I mean,
that
yeah.
chick.
Has James Bond ever made a TV show? No, he's above a TV show. He
He's
is
above
a
TV.
film
That's
character.
Thank
Back
you,
in the
Josh.
80s and 90s, if you were TV, you were lowballing.
You were-
Everyone was trying to get to the film.
Hey, what if I
basically a chimney
hold on,
sweep.
time out. What if I told you James Bond is not a film character?
He's a book character
He's a book character.
who made it to film and is known more now
He's
as a
both.
film character than a book
He's a
character.
book
and
Say
book.
Jack Reacher.
Save him for your book bracket, bro.
Yeah,
Seriously.
Kaiser, you also have Spock at number 4. Why did you have to kick him out last? First, why did you kick him out first?
Let me tell you something. I never
Because he can't
watched
understand a word Spock is saying.
Listen,
He doesn't read.
I didn't watch any of that shit when I was a kid. I could not watch the Doctor Who. I could not watch Star Trek. It was just way too nerdy
Over your
and
head?
like I would rather watch Reggie Hammonds and Jack from 48 Hours than watch that when I was 8 years old. So I never got into all that shit, okay? But I did actually learn to like the Star Trek franchise as being friends with some of these IG nerds. I did actually watch some of these movies, and they aren't freaking bad. They're actually, some of them are kind of cool, and I did kind of dig the new spins.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a cool character, but dude, I ain't putting him ahead of any of the other three. That's
exactly. I agree. I don't hate Star Trek. I like Star Trek, but Spock as a
I
character.
like his girlfriend in the new franchise.
Yeah.
What's the name of that actress?
Zoe Saldana.
Yeah.
Oh,
Avatar.
She's her and Charlize Theron are 1 and
Colombiana.
1A. 1 and 1A for me. Working actresses in Hollywood.
It's just hard when you're in the final 8 and you're gonna give it to like a side character. I think
I don't know if I'm gonna give it to a side character. I'm putting a side character.
Well, I'm just saying
a side
Put him
chick,
over
Amaru.
Bond.
You're trying to put a side chick ahead of number 4.
I'd rather have a better side chick than a not so great main person. But hey, it is what it is.
Great.
So I don't think
Do
I've
you not like
watched
the Daniel Craig films?
The Daniel Craig films.
Pierce Brosnan.
I like
Goldeneye?
half. I like half of the Daniel Craig
what's
films
funny,
because the other 3 are trash.
Remember, I was part of the crew that was giving you shit about this last time because James Bond was my number 2. So it's funny now that I'm kind of on your side, whereas last time I was more with Josh, where I was like, get the pitchforks. Like, what are you doing, James
So are you
Bond?
saying there's more good Star Trek films than are good James Bond films?
There are, from what I've seen, yes. I have not seen a bunch of the Bonds, but what I've heard, there's not that many that's great. I don't like the characters.
That's ridiculous.
Hey,
ludicrous.
Hey, it is what it is. I will tell you what I've seen between maybe the 2 Brosnan ones and all of the Craig ones. There are a bit better Star Trek movies than all of those Bond.
That's like
for sure.
That's like saying all of you seen was like the prequels, and that Star Wars is like the best thing ever.
It is what I is.
That's
I've
ridiculous.
seen enough of the character Bond that I could care less about him.
Got it.
Sully, you sir are the only one left. Did you also have Spock, or do you have somebody else?
No. See, okay. I'm gonna start by saying I love this character.
Oh god, here we go.
Who did he put? What did you do?
Flynn Carson from The Librarians is one of. Oh no, sorry, my bad. Nick Cage from National Treasure. No, that's not the right one either. Johnny Thunder from the Lego Adventures.
I don't like where this is going.
No. Oh man, I fucked up.
He's naming better characters than Spock so far.
Laura Croft, Tomb Raider.
No.
Okay, so I picked the only character on here that is entirely derivative of pulp action characters.
See, dude, now you're just doing this. Just
Indiana Jones.
You know that? You're just
all right, time to end the stream.
You're doing
All
it.
right. Okay. Who invited this guy?
Here's the thing, right?
He's the
Indiana Jones.
Remembered though.
Indiana Jones
is a democracy. Let's hear this numbskull out.
Indiana Jones is the only replaceable character on this list.
Wow.
Every other character is integral to their film.
You can replace Spock with Data, and it's like A and B.
Sure, but Data.
I don't know about that, Josh.
I don't know if that's exactly
robotic
accurate.
people who don't have feelings.
Data never got no Zoe
feelings.
Saldana as a chick.
Yeah, Data didn't get any ass either.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Data got less.
Hey, I think Kaiser wants to put Zoe Saldana on his list. Can we do that for him?
Yeah, I think so.
Love that new Batman.
I love
movie.
Indiana Jones. It is one of my favorite film franchises.
That was Lisa Bonet's daughter. Sorry,
Zoe Kravitz.
They both are dope actresses and look alike.
Yeah. Sorry, Sean.
No, you're good. I just think Indiana Jones is totally replaceable, right? Like, it's a character trope and not a character. That's 100% it.
But isn't he isn't most of the tropes going off of him?
Nope.
Hey, but isn't Raiders of the Lost Ark the best movie out of any of these 4 characters' collective movies?
No.
It's not?
Oh, God damn it.
Crystal Skull is, dude.
What? I'm sorry. Out of all these characters' collective movies, what's better than Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yeah, I stand by what I just said, Crystal Skull.
You know what's funny?
Right, come on,
you know what's funny? After all that I just said, I would say that Casino Royale and Skyfall are the best movies out of all of these.
What is happening here?
I don't like the character. I don't need the character. The movie's short.
Listen,
Josh, we know who we're gonna go egg on Halloween. We got.
I mean, you don't have to like the character for the movie and character to be good. The most interesting characters are the ones with the gray area. I mean, Scarface. I love Scarface. I don't want to hang out with the dude. Well, maybe in the 80s I would, but I wouldn't want to hang out with him by the end.
For yourself, bro. You're over there right after the taping.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just go by what character you like the most. It has to be about what the films bring to the character, what they're saying with the character.
That's the one time I am going to kick him out because he's telling me how I'm running my show, and that's not how that works. You can take it however you want to take it, but he is right.
Oh,
That's what he
man.
likes. That's how you take it. I take it. It's about the characters for me.
Damn,
However,
wow.
this is why I love the show because you take it however you want to take it.
Except
movies,
Amaru will censor you if he doesn't like it.
He had to display that power early on, so the rest of us can be
Understood.
Don't take it
Just a
personally.
little bit. Sully, I think you're absolutely out your mind, though. I just think you're absolutely out your mind.
Yeah, we're gonna talk on Wednesday.
The issue
don't wear
is
that
that
ILM shirt on Wednesday. You're not allowed.
How
to
come
wear
no
that.
one's answered my question? Which of these films is better than Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire's. You could vote for Empire, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I don't-
fair.
It's close.
Okay,
It's close.
Yeah,
I
but
will not.
It's real
I will
close,
not
but
disagree
Empire.
with you.
But if you
Smash.
do that, you have to connect it to Obi-Wan, who's in that movie for one scene.
That's fair. Yeah, he's not even
very
there. Character in the
important.
movie.
If you said Star
Bro,
Wars,
Such
Bro,
impact.
yeah,
Such
if you
impact.
said two
Josh
scenes,
just said it, dude. He shows up like Tupac, like a hologram at
Thank
fucking
you.
the concert. What's
Yeah.
it called? What's that concert called where all the kids go?
Coachella.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
If you're
Tupac
gonna
at
give me an
Coachella.
Obi-Wan movie, give me an Obi-Wan movie. Don't give me the first Star Wars. Give me any of the prequels. Don't give me Empire, where he's there for does a ghost set.
But he's
See,
in
if you
it.
have a New Hope, you'd have a point, bro.
You know
Because
that
he actually acts in that movie.
Just
He don't act in this movie. It's like watching a Viewmaster. Comes and goes.
There's another. He says, "That's the last hope." It's great.
Sully, I feel like you somehow skated by with this blasphemy. Is there any other thing you want to add before we move on?
You know what it comes down to ultimately, right? You replace Indiana Jones with any one of the other action heroes I just named that are the same fucking character. If the whole idea is we can only keep one of these, which one of them is most integral to their franchise? And Indiana
that's how you-
Jones is
that's how you-
easily
I feel like
replaceable.
Indiana Jones
You say-
with his name's in the title.
Yeah,
Sure, but you
So
replace
you want
him with
Shia
another
LaBeouf?
action hero.
You want Shia LaBeouf
and
to take
it's
over the
Mutt
franchise?
Williams and
Yeah, that's what you want. Okay.
Kevin, look at the Librarians. It's the same franchise with a different character. Look at Laura Croft. It's the same franchise with a different
That's
character.
insulting
right?
to Harrison Ford. You're just saying like you could replace
Sure.
him with any other actor.
Absolutely.
I love Librarians.
Sean,
Librarians is a dope show.
Sean, don't forget one thing. Indy bangs it out in Bangladesh, picking up all the hot chicks, the jewels, restoring people's faith in humanity, while Obi-Wan's on Fire Island hanging out with
Well,
Vader?
look,
So we know how Kaiser plays.
if we were ranking them based on how much
Who wants to go to Fire Island?
if we're ranking them on based on how many STDs they have, yeah, sure, James Bond would be my number one, but he's not.
Indy's close too on that list, though.
Oh, absolutely.
They got the
Hey,
same
Obi-Wan
girls.
got laid.
They definitely, they probably were hooking up with the same girls.
Not as many STDs back in those
A lot of
days.
crossover. There might be that Indy Bond crossover picture. Somebody call the guys who made the Lego movie. They could pull it off.
Yeah. With that, we've gotten our number fours out the way. Me, Smets, and Frankie all got rid of James Bond at our number four. Sully, with a lot less flack than I thought he would get, got rid of the most replaceable character, about four of them, Indiana Jones, while JT and Kaiser just think that Spock is a robot with no emotions. So that's why they're gone. But what we're going to do...
Say that.
Kev, Smets, what about you, sir? What is your number three? Who do you have?
You're gonna love
At
my
number
number 3.
Oh God,
Yeah.
no.
Look, now I'm about to drop a name here, so help me while I pick this up. The reason that Spock goes ahead of James Bond for me is when I was young, I did a cartoon called The Halloween Tree, which starred Leonard Nimoy. Leonard Nimoy sat right next to me, and I looked up at him and I said, because I was a kid, I said, I don't watch Star Trek. I only know I'm a Luke Skywalker guy. And he laughs at me, and he did the Vulcan nerve pinch on my shoulder as a joke. I asked what it was. He explained it to me. He showed me how to do it. And rest his soul, he was the nicest guy to me. I sat with him in a VO booth with like 5 other kids. The 5 other kids actually weren't friendly to me, but Spock was, and I sat with him in a room. So
Leonard,
I'm running out of reasons for Spock. Storyline-wise, I get it. Like, he's more boring. He's logical. He actually does start to come into his own. in like The Voyage Home. Josh, if you've ever seen that one, he's actually kind of fun in that one. And you know, he as far as character goes, he sacrificed himself. The goods of the many outweigh the goods of the few. So character-wise, not talking about movie entertainment-wise, just talking about character-wise, for me, he's the one that I wouldn't put at number 4. And then in personal-wise,
Don't forget about In Search Of was a dope
nice
show
dude to me,
too.
so he's
Homie
gotta
had
go.
his run. You ever seen In Search Of? No, nobody knows what In Search Of is.
Search of Spock.
There was a TV show called In Search Of.
No, yeah. It doesn't
That
ring a
Leonard
bell.
Nimoy. It was like X-Files but real. And Leonard Nimoy used Google it, you young fuck.
Also, Google Leonard Nimoy singing about Bilbo Baggins. That's kind
Send
of
me a link, you old fuck.
Yo,
So
he'd
Spock-
go looking for Bigfoot, aliens. Leonard Nimoy was looking for all the shit. In Search Of. Anyways,
Cool. Okay.
Matt, you're done.
Does anybody else have Spock at number 3?
Yeah.
Frank,
As
copy
do I.
me? Did we?
As
copy
do
me?
I. Go ahead, Frankie. Why do you have Spock at number 3?
Because he doesn't really do a whole lot when you watch the movies. Like, he has like a couple good conversations with Kirk and stuff, but for the large part,
Enterprise in the end of Wrath of Khan.
I mean, okay, like, yeah. But outside of that, like, what else? He's really just walking around, talking, pinching people and shit. Like, like, all right, cool. I mean, like, you're super
Just
smart.
walking around.
I get it.
People.
God, it was the Me Too era.
That would not fly today. Yeah.
About Vulcan philosophy that no one cares about.
Yeah. So, and even in the movie Search for Spock, he's barely in it. I think, right? So, like,
Good movie though.
Directed.
Good
so
movie.
yeah, but like your name's in the movie, I would, show me your side of the story, bro.
Is that
like,
the only movie he ever directed? Is that the
He
only
directed The
No,
Voyage
he
Home.
did.
yeah.
Josh?
Yeah, but that's Leonard Nimoy, not
enough
Spock.
to hire Leonard Nimoy to direct their movie.
But also, like, I wasn't really huge on Star Trek growing up either. It was either Star Trek or Star Wars, and I was Star Wars. So only recently had I watched through a lot of the Star Trek movies, and even still, like, they're good to maybe great, but like Spock specifically as a character, I could see why people might gravitate towards him. I didn't. I actually gravitated a lot towards Kirk. I think he's been great. But so, yeah, Spock number 3. That's cool.
Kirk probably has as many STDs as Indiana Jones and James Bond. He was banging everybody across the galaxy.
Yeah, but they got the
ones.
science though.
They got those space ratings. The space.
They got the science.
They're definitely vaxxers in the Star Trek universe.
Hell yeah.
I also have Spock at number 3. As much as I was trying to help him out here, I have him over Bond. I basically, it comes down to I don't think there's any way I'm putting him over the other two. He's a great character. I had an argument with my dad today about how Spock should be number 1, and I'm just like, really though, because like, again, he's cool, but he's not as cool as the other two. There are points in time where the non-emotion can get to you. However, trying to see him navigate the emotion is pretty cool. He's part of ensemble. He's not as interesting as the people ahead of him. So that's the biggest reason for me. Sully, you also have Spock at number 3. Why do you have?
Yes,
Spock?
I did. Because I don't give two shits about Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Right?
That's fair.
Like, that's what it comes down to. Do I think Spock is as replaceable as Indiana Jones? No. But I really don't give two shits about Star Trek. I will give him the credit.
Star Trek or Indiana Jones better?
What was that?
Do you like Star Trek or Indiana Jones better?
Oh, I love Indiana Jones. I like. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong.
So he's okay. That's
Don't get
me
it
wrong.
twisted. Don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted because I twisted it. But
The question is,
So
out of these characters,
you just answered
which
my
one-
question on what the best movie is. Okay.
Well, but the question isn't which film series do I like better, or even which character do I like better. It's which one has to stay.
which character you like better, Spock or Indiana Jones?
I like Indiana Jones better.
Okay.
I think he's more. But I still put him at number 4 because I think he's more replaceable.
This man woke up drunk and did not have breakfast.
I don't think
That's
I've ever
correct.
heard I don't think I've ever heard that reasoning behind it, and I love it. I love that.
Yeah,
to death.
Look, Rue, you invited me on the show. I put some thought into it. Okay.
Hey, put whatever
Did
song
you?
you want. That's why I love it.
Did you?
He might have thought. Yeah, he might have thought.
What do you need? He needs
Yeah,
about
yeah,
13
exactly.
minutes.
You
So
want
I'm
I
going
thought
to
it.
admire your bravery.
13
Just
minutes
sit
after
down
his
and
walking the
Indiana
dog.
Jones.
All right.
You know who I was for Halloween 2 years ago?
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
How
You know
many
who I
times
will
did
never
that
be for Halloween? Spock. I don't
Yeah.
give two shits about Spock.
Yeah.
I do think he's less replaceable.
You know
but
who you should be
get the
next
fuck
year?
outta
Is
here.
Sala for Halloween. You're more of a
Dude,
Sala
holy
that's a
shit.
good
That'd
one.
be
than
cool.
an
That's a good
Indiana
one.
Jones.
Wow.
Well,
Shots
Kaiser,
fired.
to be fair, I was like 50 pounds lighter when I was Indiana Jones for Halloween. So
I still don't believe you. I
think
believe
now-
you were that light, but I don't believe you were Indiana Jones alike.
well,
I
I
believe
don't know
the
that I was
weight. I
Indiana
don't
Jones
believe
like.
the swagger.
I'm not saying. Well, so look, it
You're
was a different
Sala.
time.
When you're the guy when I come
I
to a
absolutely,
movie. Listen, when I come
I
to
absolutely
Egypt,
should be Sala for Halloween this year. That's a
yes,
great idea.
When I come to Orange
It's
County and I
done.
need things to get done, I know who to call. I call you. You're a
That's what
man
I'm
who
here
gets
for.
things done.
That's
That's a Sala character.
You don't have any dates, do you? At your house?
I hope not.
Bad
No.
dates. Just
No.
bad dates.
Kaiser, keep it going anyway. Sully was the
I was
man
gonna-
you're going to. Who's the character you're not going to? Who's your number 3?
Well, so I just want to interrupt you for 1 minute because I think where we need to go is I'm introducing a new segment called Multiverse Breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
So I just break off and I give you I'm keeping Axel Foley. I almost kept John McClane.
Ooh.
Second to go is Furiosa. And the first to go is Popeye Doyle. That's my multiverse breakdown. I'm keeping Axel Foley, almost kept John McClane, Furiosa, Popeye Doyle's number 1 to go.
You and JT are looking in the future because I'm pretty sure action characters is what I'm doing next, and there's a very good possibility. I was like, shit, Axel Foley,
Those are asshole
or
characters,
McClane.
not
I don't know
action
which one. That's very close. But back to this universe. Who is your number 3 out of this list?
I had Obi-Wan Jabroni. Now, listen, I know that he gets good sushi. Now that I watched the TV show, he knows where to get the good sushi. I like that he's, helping out little Leia. That weighs on my heart. But that's just Johnny come lately, bro. You like where you been my whole you coming late. I liked your Vader sword fight, but you know what I didn't like? Oh, all of a sudden a wall of flames is gonna stop the fight. Like that was dumb writing, dumb filmmaking.
That's
You should have.
But that's not on Obi-Wan. That's not Obi-Wan's fault.
Not on Obi-Wan at all.
It's Kathy Kennedy's fault. It's George Lucas Jr. Whoever's running that company. I didn't like that, but I like the thought that went into it. But I'm gonna put Obi-Wan number 3.
Okay.
I love Ewan McGregor.
You'd be wrong.
Yeah.
And I love the guy from Bridge on a River Kwai. So
Alec Guinness.
I love these guys. What's his name?
Alec Guinness.
Alec Guinness.
Sir
Also,
Alec
in
Guinness.
Scrooge the Musical makes a great Bob Cratchit.
He's a cool character, dude. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate Obi-Wan. I don't hate Spock. But again, he's got to go to Fire Island and fight his best friend. I don't like all that shit.
You're gonna will that
I would
joke
rather
in-
go hang out on the Eiffel Tower with Grace Jones than go do any of that dumb shit. Fucking fuck the Force, fuck the Stormtroopers, fuck the Emperor, fuck Padme, fuck them all. It's too much stress.
Kaiser, you're a big fan of
Way
our
too much
Scoundrel Think
stress.
show, right?
Yeah, I was
I
wondering.
have a martini. I want to have a martini with Bond. Help stop the Cold War. I want to put items back
You need
in the
Rocky for
museum.
that. What are
I
you
want to
talking
get
about?
indie.
Yeah, you need
I
Rocky.
want to, I want to go to all the cool hash dens with Indiana Jones and save some art. Those are my top 2.
So, Kaiser, given your thoughts on Star Wars, you're our biggest fan for Scoundrels Inc., right?
Hugest, probably.
Star Wars: A New Hope is in my top 5 movies of all time.
There you go. JTE, you were the low man out, not giving you number 3. Do you also agree with him and Obi-Wan at 3? Do you have somebody else?
Yeah, I'm with Kaiser, and Obi-Wan's number 3 for me. Again, not even the lead character of his own franchise. I like Alec Guinness. I love him in Bridge Over the River Kwai, but he wasn't my favorite thing in the first Star Wars film or even the sequels. I didn't really like Obi-Wan more until Ewan McGregor took the role on the prequels. Unfortunately, the prequels were saddled with bad direction, bad dialogue. I think Ewan McGregor rose above that and was really good in it. But then the first time he actually had his own starring role in the TV series, I thought the Obi-Wan series was a really mixed bag. It felt like they stretched it out too long. I heard there was like a 2.5 hour edit online, which I haven't seen, but here's even better. Did you do that, Smith?
I edited it.
You're the only one that edited it? I thought a couple people did it.
No, there was some other guy that got it on Variety.
Okay.
My friend and I, Brandon Twig.
There you go. So you should agree with me on this one. I think it was a mixed bag. I'm not saying it was bad, but the only time he really had his own lead role, again, not his fault. The writers did do a great job. I think the direction at times was okay. It felt like they built a set for every episode, and that's where that episode was basically going to take place. Again, I like Obi-Wan. It's not like I'm saying I dislike these characters, although Spock's probably the only one I kind of dislike. Obi-Wan's a great character who was saddled in not very good movies and to okay movies. I think the best film of his is probably Revenge of the Sith. I think that's probably the best film that he was in as Obi-Wan because he really gets to stretch some of the acting towards the end. Lightsaber fight's amazing. So again, don't dislike Obi-Wan, but it's hard for me to put that side character who against these other two characters who are leads in these franchises that are iconic. If I go to Disneyland, there's an Indiana Jones ride. You know what I mean? There's no James Bond ride, but I can see them doing one. There's not going to be an Obi-Wan ride. There's not going to be a Spock ride. So these two characters just had to they're just one notch below for me.
Wouldn't you rather beat up a Nazi than Darth Vader? I rest my case.
Well, I mean, they're tomatoes. Yeah. Serious. Again, maybe if I was a bigger fan of the Alec Guinness role, like I like him in the Star Wars films, don't get me wrong, but that is not the guy I left watching Star Wars talking about. He was a really good older statesman, but wasn't until Ewan McGregor. And again, his movies just aren't as good. And I think that character potential might be higher than some of the other characters, but they never quite reached it with him. And that's a shame because I think Ewan McGregor is awesome as Obi-Wan.
I'll send you a link to my.
Let me tell you something, Amber. This is why you pay this man to come on your show. This is a real professional you got here with Josh. These other four guys are playing Donkey Kong on Twitch. This guy's a real film star.
That's right, baby. Tune in Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Twitch. Donkey Kong Wednesdays. That's what we call it. Donkey Kong Wednesdays, brother.
Donkey Kong Wednesdays.
Don't miss it.
Oh, well, with that, we are each down to our final two. Me, Smetch, and Frankie all have Obi-Wan and Indy as our top two. JT and Kaiser are pretty lockstep, having Indy and James Bond at their number two. And Sully's a little on his own. He has Obi-Wan. He has James Bond. Before we get into our number ones, as always, you see it up top. You see it at bottom. This man just joined us. Please go to BitesizeBreakdown.com. All the movie and TV reviews. We're about to have our Toronto International Film Festival reviews coming out shortly. We also just did a video. Paige for Betty had a conversation with Clee Wiggins on the latest episode of Small Talk, talking about a lot of sex and drugs and comedians. So it's a good time.
Whoa,
go check it out.
Link. I want to hear about that.
Send it to you immediately, sir. I'll send it to you immediately.
It to me so I can just watch it right after the show.
Kaiser, you got to get on Bumble again.
Please.
I feel like you need to get back on those dating apps, buddy.
You can call me the artist if you want to refer to me.
Jesus Christ.
But with that, here's how the numbers break down. Half of us saved Obi-Wan. Half of us saved Indiana Jones. And the breakdown is Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'm sorry, is one of the greatest characters ever, even as a side character.
I just want to clarify. At least one of us said Bond in our number two.
Yes, one of you did say Bond at number two, and that person can reveal that when we get there if they want, or if you want to say now, somebody had Bond at number two.
I had Bond at number two.
I had Bond at number two. Also,
they both did. Both of them had Bond at number two, but they saved Indiana Jones.
I also Bond at number two.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he did.
Oh yes, yes, you did. You did have
cool
Bond at number
shit that
two.
guy gets. He gets pens that shoot a guy in the face. He gets like a pair of moccasins that turn into water skis. This guy's got all the cool shit.
Mm-hmm. Yet still, you didn't
Man's
save
car was
him. You saved
dope.
Obi-Wan. It was all dope, but I feel Obi-Wan is, as a side character, has gone through the most.
The man dresses in a burlap sack, Rue. The other guy has a tuxedo.
And he's more interesting. He is still more interesting than any of the other three. Not maybe by much, but the highs he goes through, the lows he goes through. I love
the character.
More.
Listen,
depth
preaching
for
the
me
choir.
for Obi-Wan, and that's
Look,
that's
I
why
love
I
the
had to say
character.
it.
Obi-Wan is
Everything
the
you
only
speak is
character
true. I
here.
love the character.
Obi-Wan is the only character here to fuck the Duchess of Mandalore.
I have no idea what that means. Is that in a
I don't
movie
even know
or
what
a
that
comic
is.
book or
What the hell is that?
Great.
Is that in a
gonna fuck.
movie?
That's what it means. He's
Is
gonna
that in a
fuck.
video game?
Mandalore?
Mhm.
No.
Star Wars, The Hope for Fuck, and I don't know. Like I don't know
what's
that's
happening.
from.
Look, clearly you guys haven't seen the movies. I don't know what to tell you.
I
Well,
have.
You got that Mando ass, dude. It's-
You know what? All the new ones that came out, the Ben Solo trilogy, saw them once.
Yeah, Obi-Wan's not even in those.
Once.
Yeah, he
He's not
is.
even in that shit.
Well, he
His
shows
voice.
up as a.
He's
Yeah,
in there at
his
least
voice.
twice.
I'm gonna
That's
say
what-
something
exactly.
about-
Oh, he's a
Obi-Wan
fourth
on the
ghost.
side.
That
Just because he
bullshit.
farts in the background doesn't mean he's in the movie. I don't know. Count that. Here's the thing: Obi-Wan, by being a Jedi, almost makes him the least interesting character because he can't do some of the emotions that these other two characters could go through. He has a certain code that he has to stick to by being a Jedi. You know, there's certain things that he's limited to with his character because of that. It's like when somebody joins the ministry, you can only be so interesting. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many priests you guys or ministers you hang out with. They're not as fun as these other two guys. I'm going to go hang out with James Bond and Indiana Jones any day of the week before I hang out with Obi-Wan. I give Obi-Wan a little bit of credit because he broke the rules. He bent them a little bit. Like he trained some people when he wasn't probably supposed to be training them. And he kind of went against the Jedi Council a little bit in the prequels. But I just think the other two
He shall do what
characters
he must. You know?
are just so much more interesting. So are we discussing the number one right now or the number two?
Yeah, the number we're discussing number ones. We'll bring up number two when you want to as well.
Okay.
If you'd like.
Well, number one,
I've talked about Indy enough, so I'm
Yeah.
going on Obi-Wan.
Indiana Jones is number one for me. I think it is. He has the best films, probably. You could argue Star Wars, but again, he's not. He's the lead of his own films. The movie is called Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade, Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. Yes, I don't like Crystal Skull, but okay. I mean, the prequels are pretty bad. The first
Movies
two
are called Johnny English. That doesn't make him the better character than a side
Are you
character.
comparing Johnny English to Indiana Jones? Is that what
You
you're
keep
talking
talking about leads being better characters than side characters.
Yes,
off
but I'm
rip,
also
like it
talking
has
about.
anything-
But I'm also talking about those movies being some of the best action adventure films ever made. Raiders of the Lost Ark is the template for an action adventure film. To me, like that is where you start. Then you want to get to Die Hard if you want to go for the more rated R gritty. But if you're just going for action adventure, I think Raiders of the Lost Ark is where you start. Now you could say that about Star Wars when it comes.
Empire's probably
and Obi-Wan's in it for one scene. So I don't give Obi-Wan credit. It's not on his resume. He shows up. He's on the bench
he's in it.
for
But
95%
he's
of
in
the
it.
game. He comes in for 5 minutes when they're already winning. I don't count that. I don't. He might get a ring, but he doesn't get to be one of the All-Stars. So I don't put it in there with him.
Man of the year. Man of the year.
So I'm sorry, but Indiana Jones, even when Crystal Skull's bad, it wasn't Harrison Ford's fault. He was probably one of the better things in the film. It was the direction, the story, and some of the ridiculousness that Spielberg brought to it that hurt that movie, not Harrison Ford. He was honestly the highlight of that movie for me, which is why I have some hope for this next film with James Mangold, because he was Harrison Ford in that movie. He did a great job.
Another one?
I saw the leaked trailer. It looked good.
It looked good, yes. I love that leaked trailer.
With Harrison
But I will
Ford?
give you Indiana Jones is my number two because he is also a great character.
Yeah,
Hold
that's
on.
the thing
I'm
is,
asking a
I don't
serious
hate Obi-Wan.
question.
I
They're
don't hate
making
James
another
Bond.
one?
Yeah, with James Mangold.
Yes,
So,
Indy
Guys
5.
and Rogue
Indy 5 is
With
coming.
Harrison Ford?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Breaks my heart.
Are you just hearing about this?
Yes.
Oh my god!
Guys,
That's what I know, dude. I don't read Deadline. I don't
I
give a
understand.
shit.
I understand where you're coming from, but the trailer looks pretty damn good from what I saw. That's all I'm gonna say.
There's a trailer?
A leaked trailer.
It's
they
not
showed
out.
on D20.
It's leaked.
Yeah. But, you
All
know,
right,
we got
Amaru. So number one, Loretta
Just-
Lynn from
just
Coal
text
Miner's
Finstock. He'll
Daughter.
send it to you.
Loretta Lynn from Coal Miner's Daughter, number one, I keep. I almost kept Reggie Hammonds from 48 Hours. The second to go, Fletch. And the first to go, Dr. Strangelove. So that's keep Loretta Lynn, Coal Miner's Daughter. Almost kept Reggie Hammonds. Second to go, Fletch. First, Dr. Strangelove.
I feel like you worked
These
on your
multiverses
friends
are
list more
lovely.
than your real list, Kaiser.
That's my
Yes.
list.
I would like to hear
These are
some.
my multiverse
Let
list.
me talk about my number one now.
yeah, I want to hear
more on
you know,
character. Like it was
Yes.
less, JTE is great because he's bringing that perspective of like the movies and stuff like that. For me, what resonates with me with Obi-Wan is here's a guy in a galaxy where people turn bad because they hate sand and they're just trying to get laid, like Anakin. Obi-Wan not only saw his master get killed right before his eyes, the guy that basically raised him got killed in front of him by Maul. Then he fucked the Duchess of Mandalore, and spoiler alert,
Why
watched
don't I
her be
remember
murdered
this part
right
of
in
the
front of his
movie?
very eyes by Maul.
I don't
Then
remember the sex
lost
scene
his
either.
best
I
friend
don't remember
and
fucking in that-
basically
in
his
that
brother,
movie.
Anakin Skywalker, to the dark side, who he, for a while, feared that he was dead and had to live in exile to live with that. Then saw most of his friends and family murdered, all the people that he lived with that was considered his family murdered, and not once did this guy turn to the dark side. That, to me, is why he's number one. He kept the good side, and yeah, he kind of failed when he could have probably killed Anakin that second time at the end of the Obi-Wan series.
Strong argument.
And but you got to keep him alive for the movies, and without you got to have him in A New Hope.
Yeah.
But
I would
for me-
argue most Jedis would have followed the same suit. I think Mace Windu would have done the same thing.
No,
I think
wait,
as
wait. If you
Mace-
read the novels, was kind
Okay,
of,
well, I'm sticking to the movies. What I've seen in the
Yeah,
movies.
dude, what do you think?
You can't bring in novels,
The Manhattan
books,
Library.
and fan
You can
fiction.
bring in
Okay?
whatever you want. This is all
Yo.
medium.
Is
You
this
can
about?
bring
Is this
whatever
all
you want.
mediums?
Fuck out.
This is
Fucking
all
I mean,
medium.
they just talk
Slow
about
down,
the
man.
character,
All
the
I'm
character
saying.
itself. So
All I'm
I
saying.
got to do an
Yeah,
audiobook
okay.
to come on this show.
JT,
Jesus.
I based my list on literally. I don't have anything about box office or screen time.
I'll tell
Yeah,
you what.
box office
Billy
don't
D.
matter.
Williams voices
And
these
for
Star
me-
Wars books. I'm in. I will buy them, motherfuckers.
For me,
Let me know.
stop trying to testing your stand-up right now. I'm trying to finish my thing. So Obi-Wan for me, he rose above everything in a galaxy where it could have been so easy for him to lose himself. And with Indiana Jones, and we're talking about character, it's hinted at. I'm not saying he did it. It's hinted at that him and Marion probably had a thing that was illegal back then, and that's why him and Abner Raver had a
Come
falling out.
on, bro. Don't be
Gross.
me tooing fucking Indy,
Obi-Wan is
bro.
number one.
Yeah, we are me tooing Indy
I yield my time.
it's about damn time.
and James
Sure.
Bond. Indy and James Bond
Here
both
we go.
hashtag
Who's
me
next?
too.
Eminem, we're gonna do
With that
next.
said, Indy's my number one, bitches. Yeah, that's.
I just feel like Obi-Wan as a character
Frank, you're
never
off the
really.
podcast.
Obi-Wan
good
never
luck.
really wavers, in my opinion. He always kind of does the right thing. Obi-Wan, and I just feel like that makes him a little bit less interesting of a character at times. He does the good job.
He's a
Indy,
necessary character.
Indy
he
does
walked
struggle with
away
things
from the
throughout
most
the series.
evil man in the galaxy and let him live. That is not the right thing to do.
I don't think.
So many
I
people
thought.
died to
He
walk
He
away.
the guy's kid to have to kill his own father.
I think he thought he was going to
I lied
die.
to him.
I don't think he left Anakin thinking he was going to survive. I think he.
Well,
thought-
he
talking
does it
about in the
again.
series.
He does it again
He
in
does
the
it
series.
again in
He does it
Kenobi.
again.
yeah. Again, uneven character work.
You've seen the meme. He's like, no, I think I'll wait and I'll tell his son he has to kill his own father. by lying to him."
Uneven
Character death
work.
that has different, that actually doesn't have single Jedi emotions. He actually has emotions that he wants to follow. That's why he's a little bit more interesting than Indy, because Indy's kind of one note to me, a great note, an amazing note. But I have never really seen the fall of Indy in anything. And also Temple of Doom is kind of.
He literally got
Frank,
turned
you also
into.
have Indy.
All right, I'll stop.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Frank.
I put Indy number one, and Obi-Wan is number two. For a lot of what Josh has said about Obi-Wan, like I pretty much agree with everything you were saying there earlier on when you're talking about him at number three. And the fact that he is kind of, for the most part, a goody two shoes, which is like, all right. I mean, once in a while he'll bend the rules, but Indiana Jones, that dude's he's got a whip. I don't know, like what else am I gonna tell you? He's got a whip, and he goes on all these adventures, picks up chicks. You know, I mean, come on. What else do you want? He's knowledgeable about history. He goes all over the world. I mean, he lives a great life.
Obi-Wan
It's
gives
like-
a huge monologue about history in episode 4. He's
Sure.
also knowledgeable about history.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
He probably taught history at the Jedi.
I don't know that that makes a good character.
For me, Sean. For me. Also, his
I wanted
movies
to
are
do a
like
show
across the board. The
on
movies.
Wednesday with a guy that put Indiana Jones in last, and then a guy that put Obi-Wan not as his number one. I don't know what I'm gonna do on Wednesday. I'm crazy.
Yeah.
No, well, you figure it out.
We always
Sully, you
Hey.
also had Obi-Wan at your number one. Why do you have him as number one? And also, just give your final thoughts on the list in general.
Look,
and
I have
these
Obi-Wan.
guys.
I have Obi-Wan here because he's the only one to fuck the Duchess of Mandalore.
I still don't know who that is. I've never
I
seen
I don't
what
know
else
who
he
that
wants to
is
be.
either.
He's Ray's dad, clearly.
Duchess of
In the
Mandalore.
actual
Who
Star
the fuck
Wars
is
we
the
never
Duchess
got.
of Mandalore? I don't know what
Ray
that is.
Kenobi, dude. Ray Kenobi.
You know, he's got the most swagger out of all the Jedi,
Okay.
and yet he was still a good Jedi.
Mace Windu, pretty. Yeah.
Mace
I would
Windu's
say-
got a stick up his ass.
I would say Kit.
Mace
Purple,
Windu
though.
is like the work, like would be the teacher you don't want in college that gives you way too much homework. Like he was probably a freaking dick, dude. To be honest.
So Rue, I'm keeping Frank. I almost kept you, but I'm keeping Frank. I almost kept you, Rue. Sully's the first to fucking go. Smets isn't too far behind.
I might have go just like you.
And
replaced the picture
JTE's
behind you already.
royalties.
You already
JTE's
replaced
royalty. He
the
shouldn't
picture
even
behind
be
you.
considered in this list.
Oh,
So that's how it's going down. I'm keeping Frank, Rue. I almost kept you.
Smash. You
I
can,
appreciate
you could bounce the
Smash
Smash.
and
You already
Sully
bounced the
sleep
photo
with the
behind you.
fishes. JTE's not even in this conversation.
because he's supposed to be here. But Kaiser, are there any other final thoughts you want to give about this list? Any other
That's my
multiversal
final
lists?
thought,
Just...
I think that's my final thought.
There you go. We'll go over to Kevin. Kevin, again, you saved Obi-Wan, but any of the final thoughts on the list in general?
I actually like all four. Like I said, James Bond was my number 2 when I did the original list. So just for me, I had closer ties with the other 3 characters. I think the right 2 made it. It'll make further rounds interesting. So I'm excited for that. I am shocked about that whole Ripley thing too. I had her going all the way too. So
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
100.
And Frank or Kaiser, what happened to the picture behind you? You only take that out for when the parents come over. You're like, oh, make sure you put the picture back up.
No, I did.
Yeah.
I did a deadhead thing with some deadheads. We did a little picture thing where you send a picture with your favorite dead thing, whatever. It's something no one gives a fuck other than you.
Everybody, I think everybody made good points, and I'm going to give bravery to Mr. Sean Sullivan for picking Indiana Jones 4th and rallying to Megan, because I just saw that he's not feeling the best right now. So
Yeah, thank you.
This guy is a trooper.
Frankie, you also had Indiana Jones number 1, Obi 2. Any other final thoughts on the list and these guys in general?
It was a tough list to make us up for. It was really easy for me to put James Bond at number 4 and Spock at number 3. It was tough between Obi-Wan and Indy for me who to keep, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. It was fun.
Yeah, you do. And JTE, finish us off in these conversations. You've been great all day. Just final thoughts. You did have Indy at number 1, Bond at number 2. Thoughts on this list overall?
I think I put those 2 towards the top because I just feel like I know those characters more than the other 2. Spock to me is a little bit more robotic. And I think actually, if you look at it, I think Obi-Wan actually has the potential to be the most interesting character of all 4 of them. I just think the writing in the stories and the movies haven't quite lived up to that potential. Yeah. So I could see a world where Obi-Wan is number 1 or number 2. But I think when you look at the films and the TV show, which is all I could go by because I don't read the comics or the novels, to me, he just doesn't quite live up to that potential, but it's there. For me, Indiana Jones, outside of Crystal Skull, where he is the MVP of that movie, I think he comes to play in every single one of those films. I like the character. I like the relationship between him and Sean Connery as the father. And James Bond, I think, again, some of the earlier films didn't really get into his psyche, but as the films got later, even says License to Kill, all the way up into the Pierce Brosnan, and then you get to Daniel Craig, where they really kind of dive into the psyche. And that Casino Royale, the scene where she's like, he's just lost the love of his life, and and Judi Dench is like, well, what about the girl? And he's like, forget the bitch or whatever. That moment hit so hard because you realize why he is the way he is in all those other films, why he is untrustworthy. So to me, those 2 characters, James Bond and Indiana Jones, are towards the top because I think they have the most depth, and their films actually live up to the potential that those characters could have, even if it took a while for some of them to reach it. Obi-Wan, most potential, but didn't quite get there. Indiana Jones number 1 because I don't think he ever failed any of his movies. And I think even though the material was up to snuff when it comes to Crystal Skull, he's the only thing that saves that movie for me, is him alone as a character.
Yo, he ate monkey brains too, bro.
Yep. He did. With that, we got a couple in the people in the chat. Andy has saved Obi-Wan with Indy at number 1, Indy at number 2. Malcolm has Indy at number 3 with Obi-Wan at number 1, and then Jonathan. It's a lot of Obi-Wan fans here. A lot of Obi-Wan fans here. So as we had said, me, Smets, and Sully kept Obi-Wan, and JTE, Kaiser, and Frankie kept Indiana Jones. And usually, I do the whole points breakdown about who's moving forward or whatnot, but it's pretty straightforward. We know who it is. The winners going forward are. Moving on to the finals, the final episode, trying to see who is going to meet them from the other side of the bracket. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Indiana Jones will be moving on. Our first two finalists. If we do actually want to look at the numbers breakdown, 5 points for first place, 3 points for second, and 1 point for third. In the overall fan vote, I put polls on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Obi-Wan did get number one with the fans, with Indy behind them at number 2 and James Bond at number 3. And overall points-wise, out of the fan vote and the 6 of us, Obi-Wan slightly beats Indy with 25 points. But that doesn't matter for this
barn
one.
burner.
Because the both of them are moving forward. And I'd like to just overall thank these gentlemen for having us on. JTE, anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Check out my podcast. Everybody's a Critic. Haven't had an episode in a while, but we're going to get back in it. The fall season's coming. A lot of good movies coming out soon. And I'll have some reviews on Bitesize Breakdown coming up.
All right, Kaiser. Aside from figuring out how hot Zoe Saldana is, or where Fire Island might be, anything else you need to plug?
I'm gonna keep the driver from Drive. I'm almost gonna keep Royal from Royal Tenenbaum. Hal is the second to go, and the first guy to go. Josh, who's the first guy to go?
Ryan Gosling from Place Beyond the Pines.
That's the character. So that's the character.
Yeah, the character. I don't know the character's name.
Josh, you said it best, baby.
You could do 4 Ryan Gosling.
I wanted to get your opinion. I wanted you to weigh in.
You could get Ryan Gosling from Place Beyond the Pines, Drive, Blade Runner 2049, and then throw in Only God Forgives.
The first one to go for Ryan Gosling is always from Remember the Titans because he's alive.
You don't want to keep the driver. He helped that poor
No, I
woman
would. Drive would be number one. I'd keep the Drive.
Kid. He's got all the cool cars.
I'll be honest. I'm not sure what you're doing when you count these things down. I don't know who's staying or going as you're doing it.
Not really.
So I'm just throwing characters out.
You want to say who's the number one at the end. You're doing it.
Yeah, you're kind of doing like a reverse.
I'm keeping the driver.
Oh God, here we go. You already stealed it again.
And I also want to thank these 3 gentlemen. Please go subscribe to Scoundrels Inc. And watch their podcast. Kev, Sully, Frank, plug away, gentlemen.
Kevin, go ahead.
I would just say that if you want to hear us argue about this on Wednesday, we're gonna have some thoughts. But yeah, definitely watch our show. We record Wednesday. Thursdays it drops. Scoundrels Inc. We talk about Star Wars. But we actually go off the rails a lot more than we talk about Star Wars, but it makes it for a fun show. I contend
this episode
there's
here,
no show like
go
it.
off the rails.
There's no show like it anywhere, and so spread the word. We have a lot of fun doing it. So, and I love
talk
everybody.
About Greedo if you want me to. Or
Yeah, send in a video.
Hammerhead, I know Hammerhead.
Kaiser, send in a video. Just send in a video. We'll play it.
All right, I'll send in a video.
Yeah.
Sully
talk
and Frank,
about Hammerhead or Greedo?
Both.
All right, fine.
Sully, Frankie, anything to add on, gentlemen?
Nope, just Scoundrels for me right now. Frankie?
Yeah, watch Scoundrels Inc. on YouTube. Follow us on the socials. All of them. Every single one.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one.
Everyone
look for us. And if we're not
my
there,
Vine game is
make one for us, and then we'll use it.
Add me on Friendster, and I'll leave you a testimonial.
Yeah.
And watch The Coal Miner's Daughter. Rest in peace, Loretta Lynn. What a great movie.
All 5 of these guys are in my top 8 MySpace. I want to thank all of y'all. Thank y'all for watching. I appreciate it. We will see y'all on the next episode. Peace.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.